What's up, guys? I'll be going over the biggest things they don't tell you before you get to college when it involves baseball. So, college, totally different than high school. So, when it comes to high school, um, one of the things that's totally different than college is high school. You kind of, the season starts. You kind of just gradually get into things, and you kind of build yourself up. Um, when it comes to JUCO is not like that. JUCO, the third day you move in, fourth day, it was my second day when I started. Um, they get right into practice and tryouts. So there's no wait, in the midst of everything you get moved in, they're going to want you to go practice, tryouts. They're already into it. They're going to tell you everything they expect, everything they believe in the program and everything else. That's one of the biggest things that I didn't know. I thought they kind of gave you a little more leeway. Unless you get to more of a higher division, like D2, D1, then they give you more time to settle in. And some colleges, especially higher level, have restricted amount of weeks they can practice. JUCO is totally different. There's not really any rules. So they can practice all year. They can practice first day you're there. So you got to keep that in mind. And JUCO is a way more of a grind than probably anything you'll do in life when it comes to sports. That's a really key thing. Number two, when it comes to working out and stuff. Now, depending on what kind of high school you go to, or how serious the program is, you'll do more lifting than you ever done in your life. There's some colleges that lift every day, which I totally don't agree with. There's some that lift 3-4 times a week, which is more what I believe in. And depending on the type of coach you have, they might go hard the first 3 weeks of working out. They might your muscles might be sore, and you haven't endured that much lifting ever. So you always got to keep that in mind of getting ready. If you're going into college and you haven't lifted that much, or any kind of stuff that involves lifting and running, it's gonna, as soon as college starts, it's gonna be totally different. Like with the cardio, now cardio is probably more, I guess you work into it more. Cardio in college is totally different. You will get in shape, no matter maybe as much in high school you worked out. College conditioning and stuff will get you in shape. You will definitely lose weight throughout the year. So when it comes to lifting and cardio, that's kind of what to expect. Third thing is probably the amount of time you will have. Now in JUCO, the classes probably aren't as intense as like D1, D2. You're going to a higher college, the academics probably be better, so academics are more of a thing. But with JUCO, but the practices tend to be longer, I would say. You're going to have free time, but you're going to have to use it wisely, because the weekends will be taken up. As much as, they say you'll have free time, weekends will be taken up. One of the biggest things is fundraisers. Fundraisers, going to games to fundraise for money, doing events, doing this, doing that, doing camps, all for money for the program in baseball. Those are your weekends. Now, you will get weekends when you're off, but it's not as much as you would think. You do a lot of fundraising, unless you're a very rich college, then maybe not as much. But JUCO, D3, maybe D2, you will definitely do it. There was Sundays and Saturdays where there was one much time. On top of the weekends, sometimes you'll have weekend practices, and you never know. So your weekends will be more busy than you think. Number 4 would probably be, I guess, the fact of knowing your role. Because when you go to college and JUCO, and even D1, D2, not as much, but you will be put in with a bunch of talented guys, and sometimes you won't even know what your role is. You've kind of came in as a hitter, but are you going to be a pitcher? Because you have elite hitters, you have guys coming back. Where are you going to fit? So you always got to keep in mind, like in high school, some guys just, I'll never be a pitcher. So the fact in high school, you kind of just give up on that. I don't want to do that. In the long run, you might become a pitcher, and it would be good, to have the experience earlier, so you do have that experience. And that was kind of me, kind of up in the air, and so you gotta always keep that in mind. What role you might play, it might not be what you always, were. Number 5 would probably be the fact that during the fall, probably once it hits a certain time, you will start getting super tired. You will get, every day, there'll be days you don't want to get up, and I totally get that. But a lot of that has to do with sleep. Sleep and eating healthy is a big thing in college. I lost 25 pounds just by doing that, by sleep and eating, and the fact of just staying on a routine. Basically, my meal prep was chicken and rice for the whole week, and then I would have one cheat meal during the weekend. Breakfast, I'd have breakfast, but that was hit and miss, and lunch was kind of something that involved meat, and I did that for the whole time, and it did help, and the sleep aspect of getting to sleep. I probably wasn't the greatest at that, but that's really important. Number 5, probably be the fact of the change in just going to college. Depending how far you are away from home, it'll be totally different. You've never really been alone, so kind of got to learn how to, be on the outside of the world, and kind of learn what the real world is. And a lot of people, they'll be like, it isn't for me, college isn't for me, because of just the fact of they've never experienced it before. I would keep grinding and thinking of just getting through it, because a lot of guys just give up right there, and they never really get to experience it. But I would encourage you to keep going. There's even some guys that they don't even know if they want to play ball when they go to college, which was me, but that was because of certain injuries and things. And you have to think about your future, because a lot of it is the fact of high school was just kind of like, I got to do this and then it was ball. But college ball is kind of life, and your academics are very important. But to be honest with you, academics, if you really want to commit to your degree, unless you're really good at multitasking and doing things, it might be best just not to play ball, but that depends on how important your degree is to you. So you always got to keep that in mind. Then number 6 would probably be the fact of start looking at probably after, if you're a JUCO, after your first year or year and a half, and start looking at colleges, start getting with the recruiting coach on the team, where to go, so you're ahead of the game instead of being behind. Never want to be that. So doing that's really important because they'll have connections, that kind of stuff. So those 6 things are really important in how kind of ball. 6 things that really are important when you go to college you do need to know, because a lot of guys just walk in and it's just, they're like, oh, it's going to be the same thing. It's not the same thing. And people get overwhelmed by it, and they don't know what to do. Then they're rethinking things and whatever. But that's when you start thinking, what kind of future do I want to have? Is baseball really what I want to do? And that's kind of where it takes off from there. What kind of commitments you make. I think another. Probably number 7. Probably be the long travels you will have. Now, having long travels, and being a away team, it sucks because of the drive. Nobody likes driving and getting out and playing. So, important thing is eating before the game or snacks or something to keep you going. Energy drink, something to keep you alive. Because a lot of guys, they just come out kind of like, kind of lost. It's just kind of, the fact they've been sitting in a car for 2 hours or whatever is kind of whatever. And the other team's been warming up for who knows how long. Then probably number 8 would probably be, from the workout standpoint, as a pitcher, yes, lifting is big, but also mobility and calisthenics are very important too. As big and strong as some guys are, who cares if they're not mobile? Because then it's, mobility is very important as a pitcher. And you're not mobile, your mechanics aren't going to be as smooth. It's going to be harder to do a lot of things mechanically. And doing the mobility every day, keeping loose, and that kind of stuff is really important. Then the fact of doing calisthenics or, doing free weight exercises that involve throwing or band work or resistant bands are also nice, because, a lot of guys will just, lift heavy. And lifting heavy always isn't the key to success in velo or being a good pitcher. But sometimes it's the fact of, I take a resistant band and I work on separating with my arm, or, any drills that involve you doing the actual pitching motion. There's some, weighted exercise where you're not doing that, and that's probably one of the things I would say is quite underrated, that maybe should be used more, is free weight stuff. But That would be kind of a key thing to college that you probably should do. If you're going to a D1, D2, whatever college, you got to make sure, you know, from the academic standpoint and this and that with the getting into the college, making sure that they have everything, especially your forms for healthy roster. Healthy roster is the thing they go by most of the time. Having all that beforehand will be nice because there's a lot of athletes that go and they don't have anything set up, and that's not they won't let you play if you don't have that healthy roster and your physical exams and all that nonsense. So with that, getting ahead in the game when it comes to forms and anything that involves you and your eligibility is pretty key. And then number 8 or 9, I can remember. The fact of summer ball. So once college season is over, then you got to think about summer ball. Are you going to play summer ball? A lot of guys do. Start asking the recruiting coach on the team, can you get me with a summer team? Can you, get ahead of the ball game? Because summer spots will be taken up fast. There are quite a bit of leagues, but the spots definitely leave soon. It goes by quick. So covered health, workouts, forms you definitely will have to have, the eligibility part. Then I would probably say would be if you've never been a plyo guy in college, I would start a plyo routine. I was never big on heavy balls, but once I hit my senior year college, it actually was probably my biggest thing that helped me. Plyo balls, just having a plyo routine, I got faster. My arm speed was definitely faster. That really did help me as a pitcher. You'll also have coaches that are going to be tough on you. Might be not like your high school coach where they're just they're just there to be there. College coaches are there because they got there. So they're going to be on you. Everything will be watched a lot more than it used to be. Sometimes even with coaches, they get on you just because they think you're talented and they're trying to push you. There's always that aspect of it, so you can't always take everything, I guess, super serious. So you kind of got to have a good mental aspect, which being mentally prepared also for going into college is key. If there wasn't, if there was one thing that is probably your biggest advantage of knowing is just getting mentally prepared, because you go into college and most of the things you might have done in high school is definitely to a different level. It's a lot higher. You're expected to be more. The coach is expecting you to be, represent the program and that kind of stuff. So that'll be something you'll need to know. And then I would say for the last point would be if you're a freshman, you're going to do as a JUCO, maybe not as much as a higher program. but you're gonna have the freshman year, which freshman year basically in JUCO mainly. I'm not sure about D1, D2, but when it comes to cleaning up or anything that involves doing something that needs to be done, all freshmen will do it. It's just a thing. The sophomores don't do as much. It's just kind of I don't know, it's just how it is. So you'll probably be asked to do everything, which no one likes. I didn't like it. So those are 10 really good things to really know before you go. And it'll definitely help you in the long run, to not get behind, to not be surprised. So if you guys have any more questions about college ball, that kind of stuff, any kind of baseball scholarships or any kind of questions that you think about college, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'll try to respond. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned a lot. Get you ahead of the ball game. So hope this video really helped out. Hopefully you guys spread what you learned. So thank you.